many days. And I hope my Lord comes soon. I hope my Lord comes soon to take me home.
Songs were sung at Negro funerals to pay homage to the deceased. Negro funerals were brief, the sermons short, dirt thrown into the grave, and the crowds would have congregated would be extensive, creating a social gathering of slaves from miles and miles away. Two accounts of Negro funerals come from Thomas Chapman, South Carolina cotton planter, and also a Lower Virginia planter.
Anthony died on Sunday, May 5th, 1850. Monday morning, his body began to smell, and Monday night was in his grave. Despite the hasty burial, word had gotten around. I attended the funeral. There were a large number of Negroes from all directions present. I suppose over 200.
The funerals formerly gave me great satisfaction, and it was customary here to furnish the relations of the deceased with bacon, spirit, flour, sugar, and butter, with which a grand entertainment, in their way, was got up. We were once amused by a hardy fellow requesting his mistress to let him have his funeral during his lifetime, when it was doing some good. The waggish request was granted, and I venture to say there was never a funeral the subject of which enjoyed it so much.
The music following would be songs such as Another Man Than Gone.
Another man done gone. Oh, another man done gone. Another man done gone. Lord, another man done gone. I didn't know his name. I didn't know his name. Lord, I didn't know his name. I didn't know his name. Lord, he was wearing, he had a long chain on. 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 He killed another man. Lord, Lord, he did. He killed another man. He killed another man. Oh, he killed another man. I didn't know where he was gone. I didn't know where he
Folk music can be explained as music by the folks. Combining all genres of the uses of music is constantly apparent in African American music styles. After a sun-up to sundown workday, you might hear the songs of the end of work. Joseph Holmes, an ex-slave, says, "That was the time of times. For weeks the men would haul wood and big rocks and pile them together as high as this house, and then have several piles like that around the big hole in the ground, what has been filled with water. Then just a little after midnight, the boss would blow the old horn, and all the men would get up and get in them big pens. Then they would set that pile of wood on fire and then start knocking them hogs in the head. Us never shot a hog like us does now. Us always used an axe to kill him. After knocking the hog in the head, they would tie a rope on his leg, and after the water got to the right heat, you would put them in them red hot rocks, and the hog would be thrown in and drug around a while, then taken out and cleaned. After he was cleaned, he was cut up into sections and hung up in the smokehouse. Lord, they don't kill meat these days like that. They just use some kind of liquor to brush over it. We used to have sure enough meat." After such work, you may have heard a song like "Sit On Down." This is one that you have to participate in. We got you now. We got you. Sit on down, sit down. Sit down and take your rest. You got to lay your head upon my Savior's breast. We expect to sing this. I love the Lord, my Savior and my God. Sit down, oh, sit down. Well, sit down, Father, sit down. Sit down and take your rest. You got to lay your head upon my Savior's breast. I love the Lord, yes, my Savior and my God. Sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Well, sit down, mother, sit down. Sit down and take your rest. You got to lay your head upon my Savior's breast. I love the Lord, my Savior and my God. Sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Well, sit down, children, sit down. Sit down and take your rest. You got to lay your head upon my Savior's breast. I love the Lord, my Savior and my God. Sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Well, sit on down, sit down. Sit down and take your rest. You got to lay your head upon my Savior's breast. I love the Lord, yes, my Savior and my God. Sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Now your turn. Sit on down, sit down. Sit down and take your rest. You got to lay your head upon my Savior's breast. I love the Lord, my Savior and my God. Sit down, sit down, oh, sit down. Non-secular music or spiritual music embodies the slave experience and the culture's trouble. Religion played a significant role in the hope and faith that was integral in the survival of the black community. An ex-slave recalls,
At night, especially in the summertime, the old folks would get together and talk until bedtime. Sometimes somebody would start humming an old hymn, and the next neighbor would pick it up. In this way, it would finally get around to every house, and then the music started showing up.
these were catchy tunes, gleeful tunes, tunes like Sheep, Sheep, Don't You Know the Road?
Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Sheep, sheep, don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the plain of the song? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the praying of the prayer? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Yes, Lord, I know the road. Yes, Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the marching on home? Yes, Lord, I know the road. Don't you know the road by the marching on home? Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Now sheep don't know the road.
Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Now sheep don't know the road.
Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Don't you know the road by the clapping of the hands?
Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Don't you know the road by the clapping of the hands?
Yes, Lord, I know the road. Yes, Lord, I know the road. Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Don't you know the road by the praying of the crowd?
Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Don't you know the road by the praying of the crowd?
Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Sheep, sheep don't know the road.
Yes, Lord, I know the road.
Sheep, sheep don't know the road.
Yes, Lord, I know the road.
The early minstrel ensemble was trying to imitate the music, song, and dance of Southern plantation blacks. Evidence from ex-slave narratives shows that the 4 core instruments were indeed widely played by slaves on Southern plantations at the time. Earlier minstrel performers were whites in blackface. It would be hard to overestimate the impact of the minstrel show on 19th century American musical culture. It had a great influence on musical theater and on popular song, including ragtime. Many of its songs entered the oral tradition. It has introduced the banjo, previously a black folk instrument, into white culture on a large scale, both as a folk and as a parlor instrument. The banjo string band tradition, in general, owes much to the earlier minstrel shows. The negative side of the minstrel show's impact was its racism. The minstrel show helped create or reinforce negative stereotypes of blacks that have plagued American society ever since. Some of the songs contain racist lyrics. This might be thought reason enough not to resurrect this material, but anything with so much cultural impact deserves serious study. We need to listen to this material in its historical perspective and understand that the study of it is not a validation of its racist sentiment.
Then hang up the fiddle and the bow, and
Hang up the fiddle and the bow. No more hard work for poor Ned. He's on where the good darkies go.
well, there was an old darky and they called him Uncle Ned, but he died long ago, long ago. He had no wool on the top of his head.
in the place where wool ought to grow. Then hang up the tobacco. Okay, we gotta stop for a second. See, if this were an African-American song, we'd be able to do it. But it's hard imitating whites, imitating blacks. One more time. And lay down the shovel. Lay down the shovel. Okay. Then, go ahead. Then lay down the shovel and the hoe.
And hang up the fiddle and the bow. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go.
Oh, there was an old darky and they called him Uncle Ned, but he died long ago. He had no wool on the top of his head, in the place where wool ought to grow. Then lay down the shovel and the hoe.
And hang up the fiddle and the bow. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go.
Oh, his fingers were long like the cane in the brake, and he had no eyes for to see. He had no teeth to eat the corn cake, so he had to let the corn cake be. Then lay down the shovel and the hoe.
And hang up the fiddle and the bow. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go.
When Uncle Ned died, Master took it kind of bad. The tears run down like the rain. Oh, Mrs. turned pale and she gets very sad, 'cause she'll never see Uncle Ned again. Then lay down the shovel and the hoe.
And hang up the fiddle and the bow. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go.
The plight of a slave was to obtain freedom. Anyone who thinks slaves did not aspire to be free must be unthinking, illiterate, or just plain slow of understanding what the institution of slavery truly was. Through music, the slave and freedman expressed their hopes and dreams of that freedom. One way of making their feelings known was through their songs and hymns.
The white folks was afraid the niggas get to thinking they was free if they had their own churches. But we had our own meetings anyhow. Cut your fingers off. Still they knew they would be free.
Hymns that would express this type of desire are hymns such as Go Down Moses.
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land.
said the Lord, bold Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Are you going to sing this with us? You are? No, go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. See, this is the last program. This is a very important piece, and we'd like to be here. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Thus said the Lord, bold Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. No more in bondage they should toil. Let my people go. Let them come out of Egypt's spoil. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people
The passing on of music from ear to ear has been a process which all cultures have benefited from. When asked what the black community has shared in the making of Euro-American culture, there are many traditions one could express. The inclusion of various vegetables in the diet, inventions by blacks, the Harlem Renaissance, and many others. But the music of African Americans have lended its distinct expertise of those who have studied or enjoyed music from a rhythmic or individualistic perspective. So the tradition continues as long as people feel, appreciate, and learn from ear to ear.
At the end of every program that we do, we like to have a question and answer session because sometimes people hear things and see things that they have questions about, and it's best to get them out of the way rather than you leave not knowing. So if there are any questions that that anyone in the audience may have, please ask. Yes?
How do you decide who is going to sing in your troupe? And are there just 4 of you here? Or are there a larger group that actually do the singing? And how do you pick the people?
There's a larger group, yes, that we have. Whoever is here, full-time staff member, stand up. Oh, look, they're leaving. No, we have a department of roughly 15 full-time, about 10, 12 part-time, and about another dozen juvenile performers or children younger than 18. And they help us do programs. We simply have an audition and, select your folks. But it's a blend, you have to be.
The banjo string band tradition, in general, owes much to the earlier minstrel shows. The negative side of the minstrel show's impact was its racism. The minstrel show helped create or reinforce negative stereotypes of blacks that have plagued American society ever since. Some of the songs contained racist lyrics. This might be thought reason enough not to resurrect this material, but anything with so much cultural impact deserves serious study. We need to listen to this material in its historical perspective and understand that the study of it is not a validation of its racist sentiment.
Then lay down the shovel and the hoe, and hang up the fiddle and the bow. No more hard work for poor old man. He's gone where the good darkies go. No more hard work for poor old man. He's gone where the good darkies go. Oh, there was an old darky and they called him Uncle Ned. He died long ago. He had no wool on the top of his head, in the place where wool ought to grow. And hang up the shovel and the hoe, and hang up the fiddle and the bow. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go. Oh, his fingers were long like the cane in the brake, and he had no eyes for to see. He had no teeth to eat the corn cake, so he had to let the corn cake be. And lay down the shovel and the hoe, and hang up the fiddle and the bow. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go. No more hard work for poor old Ned. He's gone where the good darkies go. When Uncle Ned died, Master took it kind of bad. The tears run down like the rain. Oh, Mrs. turned pale and she gets very sad, 'cause she'll never